Never mind the bollocks, here's Horror Mike.
The comic book palace. Some of you may have read about this, or you may have seen the videos.
Now they just make idiotic characters most of the time. They finally got somebody good, and then they stop using them. I don't know why. Change of the guard, maybe, or change. Well, then again, there's probably different change of writers where people don't. The writers nowadays, they don't care about the characters of what the character is anymore. Most of these new writers don't have the love of comics like these older writers had, and all they care about is, how can I put myself in the book? No, we don't care what you would do if you were Iron Man. We don't care who you are. You're writing Tony Stark. You're not writing yourself in a book. If that's the case, write your own comic with you in it. No one will read it because nobody cares. People grew up, are growing up loving Peter Parker, loving Miles Morales, loving all these Captain America. We don't need you to put your input in it. Just write Steve Rogers. Don't write Steve Rogers. What would Steve Rogers be if I was Steve Rogers? That's not how it works. But that's again how most of these new people write nowadays. That's why most of the stuff is shit. Because we don't care what you would do, because we don't care about your life whatsoever. Just write a book, get paid for what you do, get paid for what you're supposed to be doing, and make it a good story.
And there you go, folks. Now that was just a bit of it. The beginning of what would become this, for some reason, this huge comic book controversy. This guy who runs the comic book palace just went off on a rant on his video talking about how he thinks that modern comics suck because the writers suck, and that they don't care about the characters as much as writing their own personal bullshit into the comic books, which makes them crap and uninteresting and nothing like the characters that were originally created for said comic books, such as the X-Men or Fantastic Four or Batman, etc. It's a valid argument. The thing is that 2 billion people have said that already. So I don't understand why this sudden wellspring of controversy over what the guy said. I bet half of the people in the chat have said the same damn thing about comic books. It's nothing new. So what happened is that he got jumped on by a bunch of SJW whack jobs, and they started giving him a lot of shit. So here comes Mark Millar. Millar, you guys probably know him. He's the guy that created Kick-Ass and Hit Girl. Huge comics made into a movie or a couple of movies. He was talking about the video, and then what happened to this guy, Glenn O'Leary, for talking about what he thought about modern comics. And it says, I was so appalled at the way a comic retailer was being harassed and bullied by a digital mob this week, just for saying comic books are going in the wrong direction. So I had to talk to him. Here's my interview with Glenn O'Leary from this comic book shop, right? So Mark Millar posted this. He got a ton of comments and so forth. And he goes on to say, as you can tell from the interview, Glenn is just a really decent guy who has 30 years experience as a comic retailer and a genuine passion for comics. To see him harangued as he was this week is, I think, a watershed on what readers will regard as acceptable in the industry. Here's the original video that I showed you. And here's Mark Millar's first response on X, Twitter, whatever the hell you want to call it. Now, this is the subsequent video with Mark Millar and O'Leary. I think it was Glenn O'Leary. Yeah, on Mark Millar's channel. I'm posting that in. I'm not going to play this, but it's a lengthy interview with Glenn O'Leary, the comic book shop owner. Inevitably, a lot of other people chimed in. As you can see here, Chuck Dixon, longtime guy's been writing comics forever. And so apparently what happened is, because Mark Millar came to this comic shop owner's defense, they attacked Mark Millar, right? And Chuck Dixon posted, they're trying to cancel Mark Millar. And a lot of people responded, Nerdrotic, the cancel pigs are taking L's, and that's a good thing. Yes, quite good. They apparently are getting pimp slapped back to reality. because nobody's going to cancel Mark Millar. This has been going on for the last several days. I am sure some of you guys have seen this as it has played out. Just an interesting bit of comic book biz controversy.